Welcome to Lifting the Lid on Technology, a podcast series brought to you by SoftSource in association with New Zealand's leading IT vendors and experts. I'm Barry White, VCIO Principal Consultant at SoftSource. In this series, we explore opportunities and challenges in the world of IT. Well, I have with me here today the illustrious Philip Meyer, Founder Director of Catalyst 345 and previously of Microsoft for 35 years. Good to have you back, Phil.
It's great to be back. I'm looking forward to this chat.
So I sort of asked you to come on today. We're getting talked at from all angles about the new CSP extended service terms. And lots of people are waving their arms, asking me, what does it mean and what's the impact on us? And I thought, who better than to talk to that topic than Philip Meyer? So I thought, we'll get you on the show today and you could tell us what we need to think about.
EST, extended service terms. Sounds like a medication, but I think it's been a painful pill for many of our distribution partners and CSP direct partners. There was a lot of angst from the distribution community about this change of extended service terms. Now, what is it? Fundamentally, there won't be that grace period anymore where a client, and for reasonable reasons, may not have paid their bill, it might be under financial stress, will just have services terminated. They won't be able to access their services. They will have to pay a license fee under an extended service term to continue accessing the services. It's just not great timing to have this sort of thing imposed on the billions of users of Microsoft 365 to have something such as this, where they're already feeling pain. Look, I know that the tech sector is feeling pain too, but if I think of the small businesses, particularly New Zealand and Australia for that matter, there's a lot of small businesses that are going to be feeling this pain. And to be so harsh to introduce extended service terms, tough.
Do you think it's commercial, or do you think it's actually more of it's sort of a governance signal from Microsoft? Is it a bit of tough love? I know, looking at from our point of view, these renewals can take a long time for organizations to work their way through it. For example, if they're on an annual contract and comes up for renewal, it's not uncommon for companies to spend 3 or 4 months trying to sort out what they're doing for their licensing for the following year. Do you think it's just Microsoft saying, hey, look, it's time to get a little bit better organized around this, and saying to customers, you need to get your act together? Is that a reasonable perspective, or do you think?
I think that it's a reasonable perspective, but I also feel that it's kind of the misbehaviors of a few have impacted the many. There have been some people who used to just jump from partner to partner under the CSP program and leave a bill standing and then just move to the next. And that whole jumping and churning that we saw, how we introduced like minimum terms of a year. The old days, you jumped into the CSP program, particularly around M365, use it a couple of months, not pay your last couple of months' bills, jump to somebody else, migrate your tenant to somebody else. So Microsoft introduced that annual minimum commit in M365. And then some partners started to find other tweaks and ways around the system. And I guess it could have been, well, we've got to bring in the police force here, and Microsoft's putting their blue shirts on and their police pants and coming out and saying, well, we're now going to get it a bit tougher. And it's called extended service terms, that we don't have this abuse by the few that, unfortunately, the many is now going to have to bear the brunt of.
So let's talk a bit more about the mechanics of it, and that's probably where the devil's in the detail, right? So from a partner perspective, what are the conversations they now need to be having, and what will actually happen?
I feel that many of the service providers have got to issue new terms and going to have a tough conversation to say, look, if you don't pay on time, if you don't do auto-renew, then your services will stop. But what if I don't want to renew with you? What if I want to go to another service provider? Well, that other service provider has absolutely got to be legally spot on time to make that transition to them at the end of that annual term now. So that's the important element. So there's a lot of marketing, legal conversations to be had because of these extended terms. And I guess it's also a budgetary thing too. They kind of used to get away with a month or two or more where they hadn't paid their bills and the system kept running. Wow, what are you going to do if you can't pay your bills? What are you going to do as an alternate system? There really isn't much of an alternative to Microsoft 365 out there today.
So what evokes the extended service terms? Customers got auto-renew disabled. There's an uplift that happens, so they automatically enrolled into the program. Yes, is that my understanding?
Yeah. So if auto-renew automatically means that service continues, that their bill will be charged and continue to be charged. But many clients like to use that check at the end of the year to say, let's just do a quick assessment of the user base, the numbers of users we actually need. Let's scale that down as that opportunity arises to change their subscription counts.
So what will actually happen? So let's go through that scenario. Customers don't renew. They have auto-renewal disabled for that license, or what a license is involved. And so once ESTs are triggered, if they're on annual for argument's sake, and they enable that extended service terms, they get a 3% uplift on the cost. But if you're on an annual contract, it actually goes to a monthly contract.
Yes.
With a 3% uplift, which means they effectively get a 23% uplift on our actual monthly costs. I could see a few financial controllers being caught out by this.
Yeah, that's right. So, yes, you keep operating the service, but you're now paying under the extended terms model with an increase in price. Look, it does happen in other industries. The idea of extended terms, you don't pay your bill, you're paying more money, you have 7-day payment terms, but you decide to pay in 30 days. There might be an uplift in the cost in that. I've seen some companies on their invoicing and purchase order systems make it clear. So I guess it's important for these service providers also to make it clear if you don't pay on time, you're going to get these 3%, and be clear that it's 3% on top of a monthly fee, not an annual fee, that will be imposed upon you.
Sounds like everybody's going to have to get their act together pretty quickly. And suddenly Microsoft is saying, hey, it's time to grow up, and in terms of your renewal and lifecycle governance, don't muck around.
So you're supposed to pay your bill in advance. And if you haven't paid your bill in advance with auto-renew, you get EST'd.
Yeah. And that's the confusing part. It's not just the renewal. It just say it's the payment as well, right?
Yes. Not just renewing. You got to pay your bill. So it's that I am paying my bill. I'm renewing my subscription. I pay, all good, auto-renew. But if I want to end, I will end on the end date. And if I don't renew to EST, it is treated as a cancellation.
Well, on that cheery note, I think we'll end it there. Thanks as always, Phil. Until next time.
Till next time.
That brings us to the end of this episode of Lifting the Lid on Technology. To learn more about how SoftSource can support you on any of the topics covered today, visit svbgroup.co.nz/insights or find us on LinkedIn. I'm Barry White, and thank you for listening. Join us next time.